G'day there guys, it's your Aussie hubby Markee, back at it again with another episode of r/AmiTheA. Now if you love me like I love you, then you know what to do. I want you to tackle that like button like Steve Owen would tackle a bloody crocodile. Maybe even chuck an Aussie flag down in the comments. Now with that said, I want you to sit back, relax, chuck a prawn on the barbie, and get ready for some bloody good content. Posted by user ThrowRA titled, Am I the a-hole for telling someone she's the common denominator in her failed relationships? Now, I've been with my partner for a year now, and have met most of his friends. He's very close to his friend group from high school, which I think is very sweet. His best friend is getting married next year, and my boyfriend is one of his groomsmen, so we've been spending more time with his friend group lately. I am admittedly not super keen on one of his friends, S, but I've always just chalked it up to personality differences. She's quite loud and dominates conversation a lot, but it's not like I don't like her, I just find her a bit much. We were in a Zoom with boyfriend's friends, shooting crap, and the wedding came up. At one point, we were talking about outfits, etc., and S said how much she hates shopping and was dreading going shopping. She made a weird comment about how she's so not girly and one of the guys, which I found immature. She's a grown woman after all, but I didn't see anything. S asked if I knew what I was wearing, and I said no, but I had planned to go shopping with a friend of mine who also had an event coming up. I was going to ask S if she'd like to come with us, but she interrupted saying, "Oh, that's so cute. I just don't like stuff like that. I don't hang out with other girls. I just prefer being with the guys." Which I found really patronizing, to be honest. It was clear I was annoyed, and the conversation kind of took a turn. "So, you've never had a friendship with another woman before?" "No, I have. I just find a lot of girls petty and catty. Don't you?" "No, I don't. I'm friends with lots of women. We complement each other, go shopping together, and occasionally share pastries sometimes." "Oh, I could never. Girls always talk behind my back." You know, if every single relationship you've ever had with another woman has gone sour, there's a common denominator there, and it's not the fact that there are other women, it's probably you. A couple others laughed and tried to move on to a different topic of conversation, but it was clear S was angry. She logged off early and later texted my boyfriend and said I was way out of line. He replied and told her he didn't think so, and if she was one of the guys, she should be used to a bit of gentle ribbing every now and then. I feel a bit bad because, although I felt hurt by her comments, she seems quite insecure to me. Plus, it's not really my friendship group, so I may have been a bit overbearing. Am I the a-hole? I originally started this one with "You're the a-hole," but I read through the comments and my mind has been cleared. Definitely not the a-hole. I'm gonna reverse my "you're the a-hole" decision. I usually base that on how I feel about someone's words and if they were justified in this scenario, and while originally I felt that it wasn't her place to be making those statements about someone without fully knowing about them, I'm sure she was filled in by her friends about what that girl was like in the friend group, and it was a little bit misogynistic. So not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. She seems like one of the "I'm not like the other girls," which is so not a nice personality trait. She was out of line for making comments about your friendships, but when you said something about hers, she's acting so hurt by them. That is not okay. She was saying it in front of everyone. I believe all or mostly guys in the friend group, how she likes to hang out with more boys than girls, making her seem, in my opinion, like she is better than you because of it. Maybe she is jealous of you if she was the only girl in the friend group and now you are as well, so she wants them to think that she's better than you. I don't know, I just see it as like shaming you, which is not okay, and what you said isn't that hurtful if it is true. The internalized misogyny isn't cute. I really dislike women who demean other women. Not the a-hole, she is talking to a woman about how much women suck, and you dealt out some truth. Agreed. She probably doesn't have friends because of this, is annoying to everyone who respects women, and it got worse after she texted Opie's boyfriend, basically saying, "Control your woman." It's just, not the a-hole at all. So much this. I used to be the not like the other girls type, and it was because I had been force-fed this misogyny about women. They're catty, high maintenance, dramatic, etc. Turns out that's just the awful stereotype of women I had internalized. So I vehemently fought to prove that I wasn't like that. I was one of the guys, not just a vapid girl. Look, I'm a programmer and a tomboy who doesn't wear makeup. I read books and play D&D. So special, I roll. Many years later, I've unpacked those feelings and have successful relationships with amazing women. I'm still a low-key tomboy while my best friend loves makeup, and we're both valid. I don't need to put other women down to elevate myself. It's a group effort to elevate all women. It's so refreshing when you realize this as you get older. To me, it felt like a weight lifted off my shoulders that I didn't have to pretend to like masculine things to feel cool. Being friends with other girls can be awesome. Everyone sucks here. She was being underhanded and a bit condescending, which was unnecessary. You felt offended and responded by trying to embarrass her in front of her friends, which is also unnecessary. You're both adults. Both the "I'm very unique because my friends are male" and the "if you struggle with female friendships, it's because there's something wrong with you as a person" nonsense should have died out when you left high school, and behaving like an adolescent isn't an excuse for you to do the same. I don't know, calling out people for crappy behavior is now acting like an adolescent? I guess we should all get away with crap behavior, as the person who would call us out lives in fear of seeming like a high schooler. Everyone here saying OP is not the a-hole? Glad to see some reasonable people here. OP was out of line saying that, even if S was condescending. Feel like a lot of you guys are going to say that everyone sucks here in this situation. Posted by user Unakiva, titled, "Am I the a-hole for absolutely despising my physically disabled brother?" Quiva? That's, don't say that. When I was 13, my parents had my younger brother. They only intended on having one child, me, but he was a happy surprise. The main reason they only wanted one child is because my mum is a Duchenne muscular dystrophy carrier and didn't want to risk having a boy and him having it. My brother was born, and my mum started noticing signs when he was about 2, when he went on to be diagnosed with Duchenne muscular dystrophy. I'm now 20, and my brother is 7. My parents have always massively babied him. He has a little to no discipline and does whatever he wants. And gets away with it because my parents don't want to spend the entire time they have with him telling he can't do things he wants to. I've never connected with him at all. It's an awkward age gap, and we have absolutely nothing in common. As well as that, I went from being an only child for 13 years to having a brother that required a lot of extra attention, and I resented him for it during my teenage years. Over the past year or so, he has deteriorated greatly, and a lot quicker than he was expected to. He can't walk and requires a wheelchair, which meant giving up my bedroom downstairs after 20 years of it being mine. In all honesty, I find it quite embarrassing having so much equipment for him in the house, so I rarely bring friends around. He's already started showing signs of heart deterioration, which means my parents are constantly worried and rarely have time for me. With the rate at which he's been deteriorating, he's not expected to live past his teenage years. A few nights ago, I was doing some work for college. I'm a key worker, so I had just got home from an 8-hour shift and was absolutely exhausted. I went downstairs with my laptop and my mum and brother were in the kitchen watching something. My mum asked me to watch him so she could go to the bathroom, and I, as a joke, said, "It's not like he can go anywhere. He's not strong enough to move his own wheelchair." And she told me off and left. I was trying to do work when my brother just kept asking me to do stuff with him. As I said, we don't have a relationship, and I was trying to do work, so I just ignored him. He kept pestering me and eventually said, "Why do you never spend time with me?" And I responded by telling him it was because I didn't like him. My mum walked back in at that exact moment and grabbed my arm and pulled me upstairs before saying if I ever spoke to my brother like that again, she would kick me out. I told her it's not like she'd notice anyway because she never talks to me. We haven't spoken since, and apparently my brother is upset. Am I the a-hole? I think absolutely OP is the a-hole here. I don't know what else to say. You're the a-hole. Sorry, but he's a dead man rolling. He may be spoiled, but so apparently are you. Everyone over 18 pays for their accommodations somehow. The only payment you are required to do is to be nice to a dying boy, and maybe spend an hour a day with him. Cheapest rent I ever heard. Yep, I came here to say, In all honesty, I find it quite embarrassing having so much equipment for him in the house, so I rarely bring friends around. Then get your own place. All your problems can be solved if you moved out. Yep. Oh my god, OP is embarrassed by her dying baby brother. Let me play the world's tiniest violin and then throw it at her. You're the a-hole, a massive, massive a-hole. I'm trying to understand how someone could write this and not think they're the a-hole. I can only guess that it's either fake or real, and deep down you want to be told you're the a-hole that you are. Your brother is dying. He wants to spend time with you. You don't have to, and it's understandable that you had to go through a massive change in family dynamics where you got the short end of the stick. But how many people still complain about getting the short end after having 7 years to adjust? You don't have to like him, and you can understandably wish you had more of your parents' attention, but it's as if an earthquake hit your house 7 years ago and you're still complaining about its effects. Except that you have a brother who's not doing well, and that your parents have shouldered the weight of that for many years. You don't have to like it, but you don't get to mistreat your brother over it either. Let's say you got someone pregnant and had a new disabled kid in your own life. How would you feel? How would you deal with it? Because that's what your parents are going through. Have some empathy for them. They asked you for a simple favor, watch your brother, while your mum goes to the frickin' bathroom. And even then you couldn't do that one small thing without insulting or complaining. I don't know what it will take, but you've really got to get over yourself. You have a very sick brother and parents who are likely exhausted from taking care of him. You have it better than all of them, and yet you still treat yourself like the victim. Get the hell over it and help your family. If you can't even do that, then at least stop being a drain on them by complaining or being insulting. Posted by user Pia Liania, titled, Am I the a-hole for grilling my son's new girlfriend and telling him I don't approve? My son, male 20, has been dating a girl he goes to university with for about 6 months now. She's an international student from New Zealand, but has family here, so is staying with them during COVID-19. Due to lockdown restrictions and such, we hadn't met her until a couple nights ago, when I invited her over for dinner with my family. We had FaceTimed a few times, but not spoken a lot. My husband and I are very Catholic and traditional, but spent a lot of our 20s traveling the world, including New Zealand. We visited her hometown, so asked her a few questions about it, which she happily answered. But when I asked her about her Maori heritage and family, she became quite uncomfortable and said she didn't know a whole lot about it, which I find hard to believe. We asked her if she was religious. She laughed and said no. We asked her about her degree, which she seemed very passionate about, but it's a fashion degree, which isn't exactly going to get her very far, in comparison to my son, who is a law student. It's clear she loves my son, and it's mutual, and my other child adored her, but I don't think she's the right fit for my son. Her parents were both 16 when they had her, and she's very open with the fact that they had a strong dislike for each other, and haven't spoken since she was 6 months old. She also seems to have a bizarre relationship with each of her parents. After dinner, she went and played Monopoly with my daughter and sons, and made a couple crude jokes, as well as laughing at my son, her boyfriend, when he'd lost. My son asked me if she could stay, and I said she could as long as she slept in a separate room, which he said was ridiculous, as they're both 20 and are living together next year. She decided to leave as she didn't feel welcome. After she left, I told my son I didn't approve, and that I could set him up with a nice girl from my church, if he preferred, but he said he loves her, and was furious I would even suggest it. My other son, who's 16, heard me and said he really liked her. My husband said that even if I felt like that, I shouldn't vocalize it because it's clear my son loves her. I understand that, but he should be with someone more suitable for our family, in my opinion. Am I the a-hole? I'm not even going to comment on this one, that's just stupid, and it's just a repeated post we see a lot. So let's get this straight. You interrogated her about her religion and her heritage the first time meeting her, suggested your son dates someone else after she left, and you're wondering why she didn't feel welcome. You're the a-hole. He should be with someone more suitable for our family. Oof, we'll definitely be reading about you on r/justnomother-in-law. My parents were just like this with every person I dated. It made me want to hide a bunch of relationships. I never took a significant other home because they always did this, and it made me feel like their ideas and religion were more important than their own kids. They went ballistic when I came out of the closet. I'm going on a year of no contact now. This is a good way to lose your son. You're the a-hole. I straight up told my boyfriends about my parents' behavior and asked them just to not listen to it. No one was ever good enough for them. In my opinion, just ignore it isn't good enough. They have to deal with your parents because of you. If your parents are being crappy, you have the responsibility to shut it down or leave so that your partner does not have to be subjected to poor treatment. If you are unwilling to do that, then you aren't much better than your parents. Posted by user JF_Throwaway3312, titled, Am I the a-hole for laughing at my girlfriend for her suggestion to pay off her loan? Throwaway for obvious reasons. Me, 32, and my girlfriend, 29, are living together for a year and going out for 2. I make about 1.5 times the amount she makes and split all our bills, including rent, 60-40. She has a huge student loan in low 6 digits. So here's the incident. Yesterday, she came up to me and asked why I was not helping pay off her student loan. I asked her whether she wants me to help plan her budget or is she expecting me to help pay off her loan. She said it was the latter. I told her I am not willing to join finances as long as we are not married. But she retorted that I have more than enough in my savings and it's unfair I am not helping her pay off her student loan. So I asked her if she was expecting me to take my savings and completely pay off her loan. She nodded, and I started laughing uncontrollably. She got upset and has informed most of her friends, and they have been calling me an a-hole as I am not helping her. I would have been fine if she had asked if she could reduce her share of the bills, but for her to suggest this, I don't know how else to react. She's been giving me the silent treatment since. So Reddit, am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. Her debt isn't your problem. Her attitude after asking would be a deal breaker for me. Yeah, not the a-hole, and valuable information to learn about her before things got more serious. If you marry someone with high loan debt, they call it sexually transmitted debt. Now you know. Debt incurred before marriage does stay separate from a legal standpoint though. Not always, it can convert into a marital debt surprisingly easily. Not all situations are the same, and people should know what they are getting into before making the vows. Not the a-hole. She let her friends get in her head and make a fool out of her. And now she's giving OP this silent treatment because he's not paying off her massive debt? Lol, this is ludicrous. They aren't married. He didn't sign up for her debt when she did. Maybe in the future he will help, but damn, that's a lot to ask from a boyfriend you've only been living with for a year. The silent treatment just shows how entitled she is. But also she may want to watch out because these friends are steering her down the wrong path, and it may be on purpose because OP sounds like a good dude. I kinda want to know more about these friends and their intentions. Sometimes friends actually want to sabotage their friends' relationships, especially if they think their friend is dating someone really good. I've seen it so many times and it's infuriating. Not the a-hole OP, but also try explaining things to girlfriend instead of laughing in her face with no explanation. Posted by user ThrowawayFather7, titled, Am I the a-hole for refusing to financially support my best friend's girlfriend and be a father to his son? That is a weird sentence. Okay, so this is out of the blue and I need to know if I'm the a-hole. I, 24 male, am the heir to an enormous amount of money. I won't get into it, but my granddad owns a lot of land and property all rented out. I have been friends with this guy since we were 8, and we have been best friends ever since. Brother close, our parents even let us spend a week at each other's houses. So this friend has a 1-year-old male child with this girl who I am not particularly close with. My friend recently passed away in a car accident. It devastated me and my tight friend group, all from childhood. My friend didn't have the same luxuries as I have been granted, so he had nothing to give his child. His family have nothing basically. Well, we've been meeting at a friend's house since lockdown was lessened and just drinking together. Today I came in and there were my buddies, his girl with his kid and some random people. I didn't know what was happening, so I thought they'd invited more people than usual, but then they basically said this. We've had a vote and decided who would be a good provider for friend's family. Since you are practically brothers, make enough money, my granddad gives me property and lets me rent it out. More than you need even. You're young and fit, so we have decided that you will take up friend's role. I lost it. I'm grieving, and these people just decided to try to pull this on me. I told them that the hard truth is that there is another single mother in the world, and that I will not support nobody, and I don't plan on being a father until later on in my life. She then said, at least let me stay in the guest house. I told her fat chance, and that the only reason you slept there is because of my friend. She started bawling, and then the kids started crying. The girls looked like they were going to cry, and some of the guys were fuming, but some had an I told you so face. I left and got spammed with messages. People I wasn't even friends with were messaging me. A few guys asked if I was okay, like my other close friends, but some mutual friends were also calling me a bad person. My mum's family even know, and are calling me an a-hole, but my dads are saying that it was justified. I was generally shocked, and need someone to tell me if I'm wrong and what I did wrong. I'm grieving and feel totally blindsided. Am I the a-hole? Info, I'm not the godfather, and they weren't living in the guest house. I didn't have an agreement to look after his child, otherwise this post would not be here. I'm just going to say OP is not the a-hole for this one, and is justified in their response to this. Not the a-hole, and the entitlement is astounding. You know who would be the best provider for your friend's family? His goddamn family. And her family as well. Not the a-hole. Cut those frickers out of your life. This, Opie, all of those people have just told you who they are. Listen to them. You are not a friend. You are a walking, talking cash machine in their minds. It's easy to tell other people what to do with their money. All the people telling you you're selfish are ridiculous, since none of them are willing to put up any money. They all voted without him. That's already extremely shady. There is no proof of a fair ballot or anything. This is insane. Not the a-hole. These clowns had a meeting to plan your life and your money without asking you. Block them all. Who does that? Yep, this right here. I get that they may have misplaced grief, but you don't just nominate someone to take in an adult and child without consulting them, no matter their financial standing. You are not the a-hole for your response and action at all. If they are so concerned, they can start a college fund for the kid and offer to look after the kid so the mum could work. I was a single mum once and would still stop just short of killing someone for a reliable childcare network for snow days and emergencies. Not the a-hole, not your circus, not your monkeys. No one is entitled to your money. Posted by user Widowed2020, titled, Am I the a-hole for selling my husband's restaurant against his wishes? I was married to my husband for 13 years. We got married at 19 and my husband passed away a few months ago. We didn't have children together. I have a high-paying job as an attorney, and I'm currently moving to another state to start my own firm. My husband passed away 4 months ago. It wasn't a pretty end to our marriage, as I had just found out that he was cheating on me with one of the waitresses working for his restaurant. They had been having an affair which went on for 3 years. He told me he didn't love me anymore and left to be with her. He passed away due to a sudden cardiac arrest after 2 weeks of leaving our marital home. We weren't legally separated, it wasn't official. As his wife, I inherited everything, including the restaurant, as he started the restaurant after we got married. My parents helped him financially, and I supported him after I got my first job. After finding out about his infidelity, I had no interest in keeping the restaurant. It was doing really well, but I needed a fresh start. My husband was emotionally attached to his restaurant and wanted his kids to take over after he died. He wanted it to be a family enterprise. I didn't want any part of that. I made the decision to move to another state for better prospects, and decided to sell the restaurant. 2 days before I made the final move to sell it, his mistress showed up to my home, begging me not to sell the restaurant because she was pregnant. She wanted her unborn child to take over the restaurant. She said that the child was morally entitled to the restaurant as his unborn child. I simply asked her to leave and went ahead with my decision. Am I the a-hole? So I guess the legality is out of the way, since she's an attorney. She absolutely understands her rights on this one. This is a bit of a moral question here, but I think screw him for what he's done to you in your life. Absolutely screw him. He's dead now. Who cares? Screw her. She's a mistress. She's cheating. It doesn't matter if he wants to uphold his legacy. He did wrong. He deserves the punishment that comes after his death. So, not the a-hole, OP, and I stand by that decision. Not the a-hole. I don't know any fetuses that are proven restaurant managers, although your mileage may vary. Exactly. What the hell would happen to it in the intervening 2 decades? Obviously, as his real widow, the mistress would get the restaurant and get to live off it until the child is of age, at least. Obviously, she deserves it and it's her due. Haha. He's been cheating for 3 years. He had more than enough time to leave and change his will if he wanted to. He didn't do any of that and it's all gone to you. She isn't owed any of it. You're entitled to do whatever you want with it. If that's selling the thing that reminds you of the infidelity, that's fine. Not the a-hole. Apparently, he promised her that he would buy me out of the restaurant and their future kids would take over the restaurant. Apparently, I was denying my late husband's wishes for his children. Did he ever say this to you after the affair came out? Somehow, I'm thinking he didn't. So you're just supposed to, what? Hand over part of a restaurant to his mistress on her say-so? I think not. Do me a favor, as one cheated on wife to another. If you're financially able, take some of the money you received from the restaurant and blow it on something you know he'd hate, but that you'd genuinely enjoy. Lol, I'm selling the restaurant to the owner of the rival restaurants. My husband absolutely hated that guy. He hit on me many years ago, not knowing I was married, in front of my husband. My husband wanted to expand his business and make it a successful franchise. The other guy wanted to do the same. He was working towards that. They were in a competition to be the first one to start the second branch. Yeah, I'm petty. G'day there guys, Outro Markee here. Just wanted to say thank you so much for watching today's episode. I hope you really enjoyed it. Hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed making it. Now with that said, we have some special mentions. Everyone that signed up for my Patreon, everyone that's a channel member, you guys all know who you are. I'm going to start putting you on screen in the near future. Sorry, I'm very lazy, but I do love each and every one of you and you all know that. If you want to join, there is links down in the description below. If you want to be a channel member, there's a join button next to subscribe. It helps me out immensely. Also, I have a second channel that does memes. It's called Markee 2. It should be on screen here now. If you like memes and you want to laugh with me, it's some not so politically correct content all the time. Hope you enjoy it. Click on the screen, subscribe, and enjoy the memes. That's all I have for today, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.